Thursday, November 30th. I'm Rim.
And I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight we take a look back at the previous 221 episodes we've done for a little bit of meta discussion.
Let's do this.
You know, it was kind of weird today, riding my bike at night, being the fact that it's the end of November. December starts, tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow's December 1.
Yeah, so I'm riding my bike at night in shorts and a tank top. I ride past a house that not only has Christmas lights up, but the Christmas lights are illuminating the bright green lawn.
Yeah.
And we live in New York.
I think the weirdest part about it is the night part because, it's so weird now. On the way home, I got to use the headlights and it's like dark.
But you realize that happens every year. That's not weird at all.
I know, but it's still every year. It's like, whoa, drastic change.
Okay, so you're saying it's weird that something that's happened every year since the dawn of Earth happened again this year, and yet I'm saying it's weird that it's basically December and I'm riding my bike at night in shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah, you know what it means, though. It means that we're going to have snow in March and possibly April.
It doesn't mean that at all. We don't know what it means.
No, but that's probably what it means.
I'll bet it means the opposite. I'll bet not only did fall basically not happen and it just stayed summer until now, but it's probably going to be a short winter and there's going to be no spring.
Summer until now. There were a couple weeks of coldness.
Coldness, it never dropped below 50 during the day at all, even once.
There was a week or two where I had to wear a coat.
What? When? I didn't wear a coat.
Well, just because you didn't doesn't mean everyone else wasn't.
Yeah, me and Pete don't need to wear coats.
Yeah. I don't know. Pete's been complaining about the cold lately.
That's because he lost weight.
Yeah. All right. So,
yeah, apparently it frightens you that it gets dark out in the winter.
Yeah, dark is scary. Warm is not scary. Dark is. Even though I like dark better, but
I can think of warm things that are scary and dark things that aren't scary.
I can think of the opposite, so that doesn't mean shit. Anyway.
It means your correlation is false.
You know what's scary? The Wii froze today.
Yeah, actually, that happened a little while ago. Scott was playing bowling or something. I was making a D&D character, and suddenly it freezes. The Wii just freezes and starts making this noise.
No, it wasn't actually making a noise. What had happened was it was in the process of making a noise, like out of the speakers of the TV, and it froze and just held the tone.
It sounded like that noise was coming from the unit.
It wasn't. When I went up to the unit, I listened, and it was coming out of the speakers of the TV.
You're sure?
I'm 100% sure.
Okay. Still, the point is your Wii froze.
Yeah, it froze up, and I had to unplug it, plug it back in, and then it was all good.
What are you going to do about that? What if it freezes again?
If it keeps freezing too many times. So far, it's frozen once, and I don't remember, but I might have banged my foot on the floor. That could have been the cause. Who knows?
Considering the nature of a lot of the games that are played on the Wii.
I know, but if it continues to freeze more times, I'll just get a new one from Nintendo.
All right, so what's the over-under here if we were to make a wager as to whether or not it'll freeze again?
If it freezes when I'm fighting a boss in Zelda and I have to redo a lot of stuff and I get pissed off, then I'll get a new one.
I'll bet that within 14 days, it freezes again.
I don't know.
That's my hunch. I will go up to 14 days at a considerable sum.
Well, we'll find out.
Well, you don't want to take the wager?
No, not really.
Why not?
Because
don't you trust Nintendo?
No, I don't.
So you don't trust Nintendo?
I don't bet if it's not a sure thing.
But that's stupid.
It's smart. That way I always win.
No, because you're always betting on things. You're betting that you won't crash when you drive to work. You're betting.
I don't.
But you're betting. It's not a sure thing.
It's a sure thing I won't crash.
No, a steamroller could just pop out, or a car could just
How
ram you.
can a steamroller just pop out? They're so slow.
A car could just ram you. You could be stopped at a traffic light.
If a guy rams me, he wins.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying he doesn't win. I'm saying you're betting that won't happen, because the only sure bet is to not go out the door.
A sure enough bet.
Well, so what's the threshold of sure enough? What's the line? What makes something a sure bet? Because nothing's sure.
To where I'm sure.
You're sure. So your threshold of sureness is not 100% proof sureness.
No.
Okay. That's all I wanted you to say.
Anyway.
Actually, on my way to work, I passed a fatal accident again. 2 days in a row, I have passed a fatal accident today, and I'm not sure if it was a fatal accident yesterday. And they were both at approximately the same spot on my way to the commute.
Watch out for that spot.
It's a straight road. And both of them were single car accidents.
Dumbass.
The thing is, what was sad is the driver appeared to be fine, and I'm pretty sure it was the passenger who got killed. And it looked like they died. They weren't wearing their seatbelt because the windshield where the passenger was shattered with a more shattered head-shaped spot and a red spot in the middle of that.
Wear your goddamn seatbelt. If you don't, you deserve what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that there were two not only that, there were these two accidents at the same spot on my way to work. On my way home today, there was an accident at the same spot on the northbound side.
Oh. Yeah.
And again, it was a single car accident.
I didn't see any accidents today, but I saw a lot of activity of ambulances and police cars driving really fast and going somewhere. So that's usually either an accident or a fire or something like that.
See, I knew it was a bad sign when I was driving to work, and a police car came up behind me, and I was going like 80, 85, but it wasn't like I was speeding relative to the rest of the traffic. Everyone was going that fast, and the cop didn't pull anyone. He just kind of pulls up behind us. We all get out of his way, and he speeds off at like 100. And then, I keep driving. Then another cop car passes me. And I start to think...
Whenever you see two, that means there's an accident. Pretty much almost all the time.
And sure enough, 5 minutes later, I get to this accident, and the road was totally blocked.
A couple days ago, there was an accident in Connecticut on exit 23. I get off...
I saw signs warning me about that on the way to the Taconic.
Yeah, I get off exit 20N, which is three exits before that, right?
Was it blocked past your exit?
No, but when I was at exit 18, there was like this huge slowdown for like half a mile that I'm pretty sure was a wave of slowness caused by the accident.
Ooh, we should talk about traffic waves sometime.
Sometime we should.
Because actually, it's funny. I've witnessed 5 or 6 accidents during my commute, and almost all of them were caused during a traffic wave, and in more than half of them, the person who caused the accident had out-of-state plates. I think that people who aren't used to traffic waves don't expect them, because I don't think they happen in a lot of places in this country to the degree that they happen in downstate New York. I mean, literally, you'll be driving around here, and traffic will be going 75, 85. And then suddenly this wave will pass through and all the cars will be going 10. And then 30 seconds later, traffic's suddenly going 75 again.
Yep.
No reason, no accident, nothing. There's no warning. It just comes out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there are ways to bust up a traffic wave, but you have to know it's coming and prepare for it.
Yep. Actually, the best way to prevent traffic, we'll do a show on it instead.
Don't leave lots of space between you and the car in front of you.
Well,
then eat it up at the right rate.
Yep.
And yeah.
Of course, the thing is, you can't do much to traffic waves in front of you, but you can prevent them for people behind you
by gunning it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just scary how many accidents I see on the way to work.
All right, you got a news?
I do have a news, and I'd talk more about it, but I want to turn it into a regular show, but I don't want to do it as the show tonight. Because it's something that I think...
All right, so we'll try to limit our talk about this news?
I'm just going to bring up the issue, and I don't think I need to say what my feelings might be or what the problem here is. Let's try an exercise. I'm going to say certain facts, and you can infer whatever opinions you want about these. 1, according to recent data, 7 million people, as in 1 in every 32 American adults, is behind bars, on probation, or on parole.
Alrighty.
1 in 32. If you count our extended friend group, then statistically, several of our friends should be in jail, or at least on parole.
Or probation.
Yeah, probation.
Yeah.
Not that much difference, as far as I'm concerned. To me, because it doesn't affect me, because I'll never be on any of those things.
No, probably not.
If either of us gets arrested, it'll probably be by some secret police, and we'll be shot in a back alley against the wall.
Probation's really not so bad.
What do you know? Well, how does probation work, Scott? On the spot. What exactly does it entail? How specifically is it different from parole? What bodies adjudicate it and administer it?
It's sort of like academic probation. It's like you're doing bad, but not bad enough to go to jail yet, so we're going to keep an eye on you to make sure you don't do anything bad.
Yeah, well, probation is like, yeah, you fucked up, you're guilty, we're going to put you on probation. If you do anything wrong, we're throwing books at you.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone will yell at us and say that technically whatever.
It's a good general. We're not saying specifically what it is because
No.
we don't know specifically what it is.
And
but I know generally what it is.
parole is when you were in jail and they let you out, but if you screw up, you're coming right back in. Or
Yeah.
something to that effect.
Yep.
But 1 in 32 Americans. Think
Well,
about
American adults, that doesn't count the kids.
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's almost all males, so it counts the whole population, but most people in prison are males. So if you just look at males, then the number is significantly scarier than 1 in 32.
Wow.
In fact, and there are some areas in America, not a lot, but there are areas where if you're African American and you're a man, it is more likely that you have been in jail or are on parole than that you have not.
Yikes.
Yeah. That doesn't imply any racism. That implies just
Data.
a lot of bad things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But another scary statistic is that prison populations are increasing despite the fact that prison releases are also increasing.
That means prison entries are increasing faster than prison releases are increasing.
Yes, I don't think you needed to say the other increasing on the end. I think it was implied.
Yeah.
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 A little tired.
Yep.
Both of us, because it's Thursday. We've had a wee, and
I
instead
didn't play Zelda today. I played boxing 100 times to get pro level. Tomorrow I'm playing Zelda.
See, instead of doing the show like I should have been doing, I was making a D&D character, I was riding my bike, and I was playing really cheesy rock music on this keyboard.
Okay, so what else is in your news there?
Well, according to this also, of the increase in prisoners, a full half are nonviolent they're drug-related offenses.
Uh-huh. Alrighty.
Yeah. This isn't in the article, but it's related information. America has the highest prison population of any country in the world. Not per capita, but raw. We have more prisoners than China or Russia.
Wow. That's scary.
Not people on parole, actual prisoners. People in jail currently, behind bars, can't get out. Now, if you look at per capita, it's a little bit better. Percentage-wise, we're number 2.
Oh.
Number 1 is Rwanda.
Oh.
Rwanda.
Yeah, where they put like half the people in jail.
As far as Rwanda could just be a giant wall around a country.
Yeah. So Rwanda is the only place worse than the U.S. in terms of locking people up.
Now, I could go on and on about these statistics. Just read this article, and I suggest you read the Wikipedias and various statistics about prison populations and what offenses people who are in prison have been convicted of. And the rate, it's kind of scary, and it's amazing that despite the fact that America is viewed by many as a free country, we incarcerate more people than any other country in the world.
And most of them are incarcerated because they hurt themselves and didn't hurt anyone else.
Yeah, well, I think it was Jimmy Carter before Congress. He was talking about the drug war, and he effectively said that the punishment for doing drugs should not cause more harm than the drugs themselves cause.
Oh, burn.
Wiser words have not been spoken about that. I'm not going to say that it's cool to take crystal meth and freak out all the time.
No, that's so uncool.
Or take heroin until you die in an alley. But if you punish someone for doing that worse than the drugs were going to hurt him in the first place.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
The thing is like, is someone doing meth, right, out in the middle of the nowhere? That kind of sucks. I don't really want them doing that, but they can do whatever they want. They're hurting themselves pretty badly.
Well, meth heads tend to hurt other people, too. There's a problem there. And making meth is a really dangerous, bad thing.
That's true. But, for the most part, they're hurting themselves. Most of the damage is on them. And if we, put them in jail, that's even more harm onto them. But now...
Yeah, you think these people get help when they're in jail?
Yeah, no. But the thing is, what you're really doing when you put them in jail is doing more harm to me. I got to pay for that jail.
Now, the thing is, I would rather pay for free drug support programs for people. I say anyone who wants to get off drugs go to the government and get help.
The thing is...
It has to be science help, though, not Narcanon bullshit Randy help.
Yeah. The thing is, most people in prison are either drug offenders, violent, crazy criminals, insane people, and drunk people.
Except in many cases, they rarely send drunk drivers to jail. They just fine them a bunch of money, and then they end up on the road again anyway.
Well, I mean, like, not prison, but jail. Like overnight jail is most of what police deal
yeah,
with on the
overnight
street
jail.
is drunk people. You know, you're drunk, you're going to jail.
Well, I think it depends a lot on the area.
It does, but it's like we could fix some of those problems. The only people who really need to be in a jail or jail equivalent are the crazy violent people. We could take all the nuts and we can have nut houses again instead of jails.
Yep, we need nut houses, drug houses, and I say for non-violent crimes. I mean, I'm not, there are some libertarians out there who say things like, yeah, we shouldn't put people in jail and we don't need police.
Yeah.
But I am perfectly okay with police
officers. The only
officers.
people who need to be in a prison are people who would be dangerous if they were walking on the street.
Or I would argue repeat offenders. I mean, even if you commit nonviolent crimes, if you shoplift 40 times in a row.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily a violent crime that hurts people, but it is a harmful crime. They're hurting others.
True.
And they are causing damage repeatedly. I mean, if someone doesn't kill people, but he goes around smashing statues or something, and he keeps doing it a lot, he needs to go to jail so he doesn't do it anymore.
Yeah, or the nut house, depending, because
it could be a crazy statue smash.
Of course, if we follow that other recent scientific article to come out, all we need to do is make him eat a bunch of fish, and it'll calm down.
Oh God! Right.
I don't know if we actually talked about that.
I don't know. Whatever.
I'll save that for the prison episode.
So,
yeah, but just violent criminals, from what I've read in all these statistics, seem to make up the minority of people who are convicted of crimes. I don't know if that has to do with plea bargains or any other shenanigans. I didn't look at the raw data, and I really don't have access to it.
Yeah.
But I imagine if we only locked up... I mean, this isn't obviously a feasible solution, but what if we only locked up violent criminals and we had other solutions for everything else? I wonder how much money...
What if we had another solution for anything besides just prison?
Yeah, except, I don't know, with a violent criminal, there's really nothing you can do other than put them in a nut house if they're actually nuts.
You put them... exile.
Where are we going to exile him to? I mean, what? We're going to leave him in Rwanda?
Just drop him in the ocean.
That's basically execution. Why bother with the exiling? Just kill him at that point.
Because technically it's not execution.
Yeah. That's what Oedipus's parents thought. They're like, you know what? We're going to kill this kid, but we don't want to actually kill him in case the gods get pissy about it. So we'll just leave him out in the desert, and if he dies, well, that's great. And if he doesn't die, if the gods want him to live, then nothing will happen to him, and then we won't get in trouble. That's the argument you just made, and you know what happened to Oedipus.
No, but that's fine.
You want to know what happened to Oedipus?
He made it.
He made it in a sense. If by made it, you mean he grew up with a gimp foot, had sex with his mom, killed his dad, and ended up stabbing his eyes out.
Yeah, it's good enough. All right, so here's my news.
Oh, yeah, you got some news.
I do actually have news.
All right, lay it on me.
There's this thing called, if you don't know about it, the Antikythera Mechanism.
I can't pronounce Greek for shite, so I hope you pronounced it right, because I don't know.
Antikythera. Antikythera.
I get my Greek pronunciation from the Byzantine Empire's guy, who said straight up he can't pronounce words in Greek.
Yeah, stupid. I think Greek might be one of the only things I can't pronounce. Well, anyway, this is a very, very old mechanism. It's like from 100 or 150 BC. This is ancient shit, man.
Yeah, it's basically, depending on how you look at it, one of the earliest computers.
Right, so we had this thing, we found it, and we knew it was some sort of ancient computer instrument, mechanical computer instrument, and but we just couldn't figure it out. Like, what exactly does it do? How does it exactly work?
I mean,
how old was it really?
We took x-rays of it, and we saw all these gears and things in there, and a lot of Randy nutjobs have pointed at it as evidence of all sorts of crazy shit, and I hate that because they have kind of overblown this thing and made it this mystical thing and used it as the basis for a lot of their bullshit arguments, but all that aside, it's still a really amazing discovery. And I think them aggrandizing it that way kind of cheapens it.
Well, anyway, some guys who are researching it, they're pretty sure they figured it out. Their findings showed that it has inscriptions on it. They related to lunar solar motions, and the gears, it's basically a box full of gears, were a mechanical representation of the irregularities of the moon's orbital course across the sky, as theorized by the astronomer Hipparchus. So basically, this Hipparchus astronomer said, this is how the moon goes across the sky, and this is how the sun goes across the sky, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they made this device where they would turn knobs on it, and it could track those motions, so it would remember, where the sun is, where the moon is, where it's going to be.
So think of this. The Illyrian Roman, the Greeks back in early Roman times basically made mechanical computers. And then 1,000 years later, Europe was a stinking cesspool of medieval bullshit.
Yeah.
Good game, barbarians.
I mean, this thing had 30, possibly 37 hand-cut bronze gear wheels. And they had an I'm reading from the article. An ingenious pin and slot device connecting two gear wheels. Something.
See, that's big stuff, because I made...
Because think about this. This is this machine that existed in 150 BC. This technology was lost, and they had to reinvent the gear hundreds and hundreds of years later. They lost the gear. Let
alone all the mathematics that went into this.
Yeah, well, Hipparchus wasn't the most exact astronomer, but it was pretty good for the time, It's like, I got this wicked cool mechanical computer that follows the, who was the guy who thought the sun was in the middle?
A lot of people thought that.
No, the guy who...
Copernicus?
Yeah, the Copernicus model, and it's like, no. Well, you got a computer that does it right for that wrong model. Oh, well.
The wrong model of the sun's in the center of the...
I meant the Earth is in the center. Who is
everyone before that?
Right, but what's the guy with the us at the end of the name?
Copernicus.
No.
What other guy?
God damn, what's the name of it?
What guy are you talking about? I mean, obviously you're talking about an Earth-centric universe view, but whatever.
I don't remember the dude's name. I don't know. Not everyone's seen that movie.
Everyone should have.
They should have, yes.
I mean, it's in that genre of movie that we like so wonderfully, amazingly much. All those movies like Reservoir Dogs and Snatch, Lock, Stock.
Pretty much all made by...
Boondock Saints.
All those movies are made by maybe two guys. Well, Boondock Saints was made by one other guy. But
yeah. Suicide Kings.
All right, that was made by a fourth guy.
Oh, way to shoot the theory down.
Yeah. But Suicide Kings is the only one.
Yeah, but we really like movies that are dark humor about guys with guns.
I mean, the guy who made Snatch and Lock, Stock was Guy Ritchie.
He's pretty much a one-trick pony. He makes that kind of movie.
He makes it real well, but he's Madonna's husband, I think, now.
What?
Yeah. I think he's been Madonna's husband for a long time.
I read FARC, but I pretty much skip over anything that has to do with celebrities.
Yeah, me too.
Unless it's Jack Thompson.
Jack Thompson's not a celebrity.
Yeah, but I can't talk about him. He didn't do anything particularly
crazy.
What's the
guy who made Pulp Fiction again?
I don't remember. Quentin Tarantino?
Yeah, that guy. I knew the name, I couldn't get it to come to mind.
Anyway, Pulp Fiction is, a long movie, and it's a good movie, but you know how there's been this trend of people remixing a movie or remixing a movie trailer or phantom edits and all these things. So this guy took Pulp Fiction and he cut it down to a kind of abridged version. It has everything important in Pulp Fiction. If you watch this, you will get everything you would normally get out of Pulp Fiction. For you see, this is a cut of Pulp Fiction. It's a video where they've cut out any time that a character is not saying the word fuck or a short phrase involving the word fuck.
Like motherfucker or fuck you.
It includes probably my favorite line in the entire movie. You motherfucker. When in case you haven't seen the movie, I can't ruin it, but...
You motherfucker. Yeah, it's good stuff.
I mean, the movie's really good, but watching this, you get, a sense of just how many times they say the word fuck in this movie, to the point that the movie makes perfect sense if you cut out every word but fuck.
Yeah.
If you watch this, it's everything. It's everything.
This reminds me that I found a long time ago, like some cuts of rap songs where they only left in the word fuck.
I remember you showed that to me.
It was fuck the police, but it was just like fuck, 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 fuck. It was good stuff.
Yeah, actually, it was Yuko who told me about this. It's old, and I believe I might have seen it or heard of it at least a long time ago. And I totally forgotten about it. I was reminded of it again, and...
Well, it's definitely never been used as a thing of the day.
Yeah, that's my test. Well, a couple of our listeners complained once that a thing of the day we used was old hat. They'd seen it before. And that's not really the point of Geek Nights. We're not the bleeding edge news because you can just read FARC if you want the bleeding edge news. We just pick things we want to talk about.
Yep. All right, so check this out.
I'm checking.
One of my favorite classical music, guys, is the Tchaikovsky dude, right? And he did the Nutcracker, and he did the Swan Lake, which both rocked the house. And some other guy apparently likes Tchaikovsky also. He decided he was going to play the Nutcracker Suite and record it and put it on the internet. But he didn't have any instruments. Didn't have an orchestra. I don't know. He must have had a computer, but I guess he didn't want to use that. So he decided to use a bicycle.
Now, you might think, okay, how the hell can you play that on a bicycle? Now, the way I would do it is I would take a bicycle, right? And I'd mount an iPod mount to it.
Now, this guy used the spokes of the bicycle as the glockenspiel and clarinet melody. He had derailleur cables, pulled to different lengths, and he plucked them for the cellos and the violins.
You could just say derailleur, because the word derailleur in English means that in French. It doesn't matter.
Well, the derailleur is like the device. It's the actual cables that he's plucking.
Yeah.
The derailleur is the gizmo.
But the derailleur cables can be called derailleur cables. You don't need to say it in French.
All right, anyway, for the triangle, he hit the disc brake with something. And everything else, the percussion, he would shift the gears. He would, pull the brake. He would pull on the chain. He would spin the wheels around, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, Scott played this for me, and it's pretty badass.
Yeah, if no one told you that it was being played on a bicycle, you might not know because it's so exact. It sounds great.
Yeah.
It's short, though, but whatever.
So today, as usual, for the course of Thursday, we weren't really sure what to do. We debated for a while, kind of lazily, where we had some really gems of ideas as to what to do the show on.
I even came up with an idea that we already did.
Yeah, which I'd make fun of him, except I've done that before, too.
Yeah.
I'll sit there and be like, let's do a show on Big O.
Let's do a show about waiting in line. Wait a minute. Didn't we do that? And the other thing is, he's coming up with Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday ideas, and not so much Thursday.
Yep, and I come up with Thursdays, but they're always something where we want to do research and put forth a case instead of just bullshitting about it, and we just don't do the research.
Yeah, we could have just bullshitted about that whole prison thing for the whole episode, but we would have got punned because we didn't do research besides that one article.
Yeah, because I'm still compiling all my evidence for when I finally do our thing on why we hate the way the prison system works in the United States.
Fuck the police.
You can't fuck 10 police.
All right, so what are we gonna do? What did we decide?
Well, we decided because we've done a lot of episodes of Geek Nights. In fact, we've done 221 episodes of Geek Nights, not including.
This is number 222.
Yes, 222.
Ooh,
very nice number.
Yeah, very nice.
Divisible by 3.
Ah,
yeah,
cool.
Actually, I impressed someone. Well, I have a couple people in independent conversations recently with that, and I'm going to let you all in on a little mathematical bit of magic in case you didn't realize it. Any number is divisible by 3 if you can add up the digits of the number, and that number is divisible by 3.
It's true.
So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got to say about that. But yeah, we've done 221.5 episodes of Geek Nights, plus the 6 or 7 beta episodes, and all the stuff we did before we even had a microphone. And it's been a while. It's taken a lot out of us, and I don't know, we could talk about that in some kind of meta, self-introspective, looking, inward-focused, meta blah. I said meta twice.
Well, we've done 28 meta shows before.
Have we?
I don't know. It says meta discussion.
You know what?
28.
I got to go through and clean that up because honestly, originally I used tags in certain ways, and I kind of used tags in different ways as the show went on. So sometimes I would put a tag on an episode if we did a news about that topic. Sometimes I wouldn't. Lately, I've only been doing it if we did a long or an important news on that topic.
Uh-huh.
Meta and site news, there's some overlap.
Yeah.
I can fix that, though.
Mm-hmm.
That was just me being lazy. And I don't think one of those tags didn't exist right away, and then I added it.
All right, so what do we got to say about us making 222 episodes of Geeknights.
Yeah, 222. I know a couple recent podcasts were happy about how they had almost broken 100. And not going to gloat, but we're so awesome.
Yeah.
We're so totally awesome. Either that or we just really have no lives.
We have lives, or
Yeah,
else
you know, we
wouldn't
don't-
have shit to talk about.
You know what we don't have? Fucking sleep.
Goddamn. You know what? I wake up every morning lately, like when my alarm goes off. I get up out of bed because my alarm is across the room. I turn the alarm off, I get back in bed, and I wake up like 10 minutes before I have to leave the house.
I used to wake up at 6 o'clock.
Nah.
Well, except when I worked at IBM, when I'd wake up at like 8:45 and roll into work around 9. Those were the days. But no, now I get up at like 6:30, 6:45. So I don't have time to shave or shower properly. And I run to the car because if I don't leave the house by 7:30, I'm totally fucked trying to drive in because everyone else who's running late is on the road. And the people running late all drive like complete and total asshats.
Yeah. I get up. I set my alarm for 6:30, but I don't get up until 7:45. I gotta leave. I'd like to leave at 8, but I've been leaving after 8 a lot lately.
So I guess here's something we can do. Let's kind of diagram a day in our lives from back before we did the podcast and a day in our lives now. And then a weekend from before and a weekend now, just to illustrate to all of you out there who, now we're not complaining. Don't get us wrong. We love doing this. But doing a show like this has taken a lot out of us. And if you think that you want to do a podcast, just be advised that your life will be a little bit different if you're serious about it.
Unless you do a weekly show.
God, if we did a
or
weekly
a
show,
monthly show.
Imagine if we did a weekly show, it'd be like 2 hours long and perfect.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Maybe some month we'll take a month hiatus and just do a once a week, like special episodes all month.
I don't know.
Like in con season.
Maybe.
I don't know. I just got crazy ideas. I mean, if we ever go out of town,
You know, those aren't crazy ideas. Those are lazy ideas.
You know what? Crazy, lazy. There's no difference. They're right there. They're almost the same. They're
Nah.
practically the same word.
One letter makes a big difference.
They're practically the same word. Just like Dick and Mick.
What the fuck?
I don't know. Yeah, so before we did the show, we'd go to work and we'd both be home by like 4, maybe 5. We would cook dinner. That took until about 5:45, including eating. And then we'd play video games for like 2 hours. We'd watch anime for like 2 hours. If anyone was around, we'd play games with them and board games. I'd go out running. We'd ride bikes together. I know, so cute. We'd ride bikes together. And every day was just, it got to the point where we didn't have enough to entertain us in a given day.
Yeah?
We
pretty
would
much.
sit there like 9 o'clock at night bored because we'd already watched like 4 episodes of anime and we'd played every video game we wanted to play that day.
Well, sometimes you would sit around for an hour or two just talking about bullshit
Wow, remember?
like this.
Wow, I can't. It's so weird that we never just sit around anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I miss the most, I think.
Well,
'cause-
another thing is, back in those days, I was working in the city, so I'd get home later, more like 6-something.
yeah, like when I usually get
Sometimes
home now.
even 7-something. Now, I get home at 5-something.
That's just because you show up at work late and you leave early.
No one else is there. What are they going to do about it?
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
But now, well, aside from the work issue, because work changes just because we're technologists and technology jobs tend to change a lot. We get home, we get in our hour, maybe an hour and a half of video gaming and internet doing. We cook dinner. We do the pre-production for the show. We do the show. We read some manga and we go to sleep.
That's pretty much what it is. I mean, the problem is we do a lot more cooking now than we used to, actually. And it takes time to cook, and usually there's something to do like dishes or some shit, or some errand we go, or maybe it's a run to the grocery store. Used to be you could run to the grocery store, cook dinner, and have time to spare. Now, if we do that, well, no playing video games tonight.
Yep.
So it's like I get home, and I pretty much have until dinner to do anything fun. I can't sit at my computer at all or anything. And we eat dinner, we do the show, and then maybe we have time to watch something while we eat. That's about it.
Yeah,
And
no,
after the show, all I can do is lay in bed reading comics and then sleep.
Now, the actual reality is that really, we don't do much less when we're doing the show than when we're not doing the show. It's more that we lose a lot of the time between doing things where you unravel a little bit and maybe relax.
Yeah.
I mean, we get home and immediately it's like, all right, we got to start watching anime right now. All right, now I got to go run for 10 minutes while you do that thing, and then we got to play Excite Truck before the show, and we got to cook dinner. And
yeah, usually you spend a few minutes between things just sitting there thinking, looking around. That doesn't exist anymore. It's got to do.
Of course, part of that is that in the last couple of weeks we've been lazy, and when we're doing pre-production for the show, we end up putting all that time we would have spent doing nothing before we did the podcast wedged into the time we're trying to get the show ready. So we already know what we're going to do. We got the news, we got the things of the day, we got the topic, we're ready to go. And we sit there for 45 minutes watching Family Guy and Simpsons clips on YouTube.
That is true. We just did that.
We do seem to waste a lot more time looking at internet shit under the guise of working on the podcast, even though we don't use any of that stuff in the show.
Well, usually it's like as soon as we know everything we're going to do on the show, and we found news, we found things of the day, and we found the topic, we do the show immediately as soon as that's all set.
Yeah,
but what we'll do is we'll be looking for things of the day, and that's when we'll start watching videos on YouTube and wasting time. We won't know a main topic. So we'll look to our computers for inspiration, and we'll start watching videos on YouTube or playing Flash
But
games.
it's definitely subtle subconscious procrastination, because oftentimes we need a topic, and we just watch Family Guy crap. That's not going to inspire us.
Or will it?
No, it never has.
Plagiarismo. Plagiarismo de plagiarismo.
You can't plagiarize 10 plagiarismos.
Anyway.
I just realized I had to make the you can't blank 10 blank joke recently, and I had to bring it back.
All right.
Because I think that's going to be our first t-shirt.
You can't hold 10 Pokemon.
You can't make 10 jokes, mate.
What the fuck?
I realized that if you try to recurse that joke, it becomes infinitely recursive.
Yeah.
No, wait, I can break it. I
got it. You
can't make 10 jokes. You can't make 10 jokes, 10 joke. Damn it. Let's hear your option, your way.
Well, it's you can't blank, right? So it's you can't, etc.
Well, yeah, if you do a pure recursion.
Yes, and then if the recursion is, doesn't have a stopper, and then if there's as soon as it's finishes out, right? It's
if one, you can't, greater than 10.
As soon as it breaks out of that, downward spiral, it's you can't. Eventually, you can't make 10.
Except
you can't.
Breaking out of that downward spiral is like breaking out of a 0.0 repeating with a 1 at the end of it. You're never going to get to that 1. That 1's not there.
I know. That's kind of the point.
Wow. Yeah, that wasted some time on the show.
What the fuck are we talking about?
See, that's the problem. When we try to be unstructured, we just kind of talk about the stuff we would have talked about if there were no microphones around. Which you guys seem to find entertaining, so... Now... I'll get back on topic. That in itself, that busyness from the fact that we do the show, wouldn't really affect our lives that much. Because one, Friday through Sunday, we have infinite free time. Or we did. You see, when we first started doing the show, it didn't matter that we did the show all week because we lived out here pretty much alone. None of our friends lived really anywhere near us. So weekends?
Yeah, it's like every weekend we would drive down to the mall, play a bunch of DDR.
Yeah, we used to drive to the mall and play Initial D for like an hour.
Yeah, we used to do all kinds of weird stuff around here. We go to the anime store all the time. Went to that Media Play. Remember that Media Play was still in business?
Yeah, and then it was going out of business. We kept going up there to buy the ever increasingly discounted crap.
Yeah, we did all kinds of stuff. We went, now it's like, we gotta go down the road.
One day I even took Scott mountain biking.
Yeah. Anyway. We did all kinds of crazy shit.
But weekends were totally relaxing and totally free. I mean, other than con season, which didn't hit us so bad back then because we didn't go to that many. We went to like maybe 5 or 6 cons back then.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we had every weekend was free. I'd wake up at like 11. We'd do whatever we wanted. We'd stay up until like 4 playing video games. We'd sleep till noon the next day. Now, all our friends live out near us. Not that we're really complaining because it's kind of awesome.
No. But now we're just constantly doing shit on the weekend. It's like before, You know, it's like, oh, I need to go to Home Depot to buy something. Well, on the weekend, I could just go. It'd be all easy. Now it's like, oh, I got to run around and there's no time to get the shit done, even on the weekend.
I mean, listen.
It's like, I need to take days off work if I need to go down the road to get, like, household goods.
I mean, we have people come over to our house, or we go over to someone else's house, or we go to a con every weekend.
Like, if I need to do laundry, oh, shit.
Oh, laundry? There was a time when... The thing is... And this is the thing that really scares me and reminds me of how awesome college was. We had even less time in college free, really, than we do now. The only difference was in college, we could skip our responsibilities in order to have fun. I can't skip work in order to have fun on a regular basis. I could skip class whenever I wanted.
Yeah. The other thing is in college, there was a lot of time between classes. Like, I remember when I watched all of Macross one episode a day, I would watch that episode around lunchtime. You know, I had my class schedule set up, whereas like every day I would be home at lunch. I would like make a sandwich, watch one episode, and then go back to classes.
Yeah.
I don't have that like hour breaks in the middle of the day to do stuff at home. I mean, I'm at work. I can do whatever I want there pretty much because no one else is there. But I'm not at home, and I can't like go out to the store or because there really aren't any stores over there. So it's really limiting. All I can do at work is do something on the internet or read something or play a DS game. That's it. It really limiting the options.
Yeah. I mean, we really feel it on Friday when we don't have to do a show and we come home from work and we're sitting there and we're watching anime and we realize that we're free.
Free.
We can do whatever we want until everyone comes over to hang out like an hour later.
Yeah. Well, the show's affected us in other ways besides taking up time.
Well, the way I've looked at it is that when we were in college, I mean, not to self-aggrandize, really not at all, but we had a wide circle of friends. You know, the front row crew was very tight, and we did stuff together all the time. But we also ran that anime club with its hundreds of members. Mm-hmm. And not that we had fans or anything like that, but there was a large body of people who knew us. Among a tiny, tiny group of very specific fan-oriented people, we were tiny minor celebrities.
We had a large network of acquaintances. Like, there were a lot of people who fell into that category of like, hey, I know that guy. That guy knows me. What's up? But we're not really friends. We don't call each other, IM each other or anything.
Yeah, like, I never called Mitch or hung out with Mitch, but I was there cheering when Mitch took on the 1 gallon challenge.
I knew Mitch freshman year.
Everyone knew Mitch.
Yeah. You know, there are we knew a lot of people, but now, you know, when you move to a new place, you know, your people who are your close friends will stay in contact, but that acquaintance network is pretty much disintegrated as soon as you move away.
Yeah, and I'll admit that it was kind of a blow that I went from having this club with hundreds of people in it who would, you know, they would come to this thing and I would be at the front of the room and they would listen to everything I said, and if they saw me when I was walking down the street, they'd be like, hey, Rim, blah, blah, blah. And I always thought, God damn it, you fanboys, just leave me alone. I'm trying to go to class. But then when I didn't have that anymore, after about a week, I started missing it. I missed those fanboys. And I wanted that back.
I don't miss the fanboys. I miss the non-fanboys. Yeah. I miss just, you know, seeing, you know, it was good to walk around a place where there's lots of people, you know, instead of nowadays, I don't see people during the day. I don't see anyone. So it was good to just see people, and, you know, if I wanted to talk to someone, you know, usually if I walk around for 10 minutes, I'm going to find someone and be like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, I mean, on any given moment, like if one of us didn't have class, we'd wander into one of the eateries on campus. We're almost guaranteed to run into someone to hang out with.
Yeah, nowadays, if we go to a restaurant, you know, we're going to be the only people there we know is us. Unless it's a restaurant we frequent often in which the waiters will know who we are, or one of them, or a few. You know, there's a few places like that. But you know, it's not like, hey man, what's up? We know you. But in college, you could walk in anywhere and be like, hey, I know you. Let's sit together and talk about something.
Yep. Plus, being at college and being in these clubs and having this social network gave us an in into a lot of things. I mean, we started getting into conventions free. And I started giving speeches and doing panels to anime cons years and years and years ago just because I had this in from, you know, the college and the people I knew and the campus and the club. And once you graduate, you realize that you don't have access to that anymore. I mean, what was I going to say? Now, if I didn't have Geek Nights and I tried to go back to cons and be like, hey, let me run a panel at your con or let me be staff at your con, well, what's your experience? 3 to 5 years ago, I was the president of an anime club. What have you done since then? Work 9 to 5, going nowhere.
Yeah, Geeknights has sort of been the replacement for that. It's like,
Yeah.
aha, we do something, therefore we're worth something, and we have an acquaintance network, and we have a forum where people talk to us.
Yeah, and I gotta say, we've met a lot of cool people doing Geek Nights. Most of you people in the forums are super awesome.
Most, not all.
You know who you are.
You know who you are.
But seriously, I mean,
You can't be 10 cool people.
we've met a bunch of you at various conventions, and you guys are we've never met one of you that was not at least above the level of being cool.
Another thing is that we've entered sort of like the podcast community, or like not the big podcast community. Most podcasters have no clue about Geek Nights. We're not big time.
I believe you mean the Anime World Order Ninja Consultants Fast Karate for the Gentleman Night Shift Happy House of Hentai podcast community.
Also, there are a few others that we're loosely tied to, like Board Games to Go.
Well, actually, movies you should see. It's a
bit
bit shit. Actually, no, it's the exact opposite of a bit shit. I love that podcast.
Comic Geek guys know who we are.
Yep.
There's a few podcasts. There's a lot of people, where if we didn't make a podcast, like I would be a listener of their shows, maybe. Because I wouldn't have known about Anime World Order or anything if they hadn't.
Yeah, the only reason we even knew anything about Anime World Order is because Daryl Surratt randomly interviewed me at Katsucon while I was a little bit drunk.
Yep.
And at first I was like, what's this guy trying to do, a podcast or something? What's this?
Hey, you were a podcaster at the time.
Yeah, but I didn't have a recording bit or anything. I wasn't. Geek Nights was hardly professional back then.
No, it wasn't. Well, it's hardly professional now.
Yeah, it's more professional than, say, other podcasts. See, I'd say, here's the thing. We're more professional than Fast Karate, but that is not in any way disparaging to Fast Karate, because their unprofessionalism is what makes their podcast awesome.
Yeah, it really depends on the podcast, how much professionalism you need, or you should. The best kind of podcast really in the world would be where everything is ultra professional, but no one can tell because you're unprofessional on purpose.
Well, like the audio quality is good and perfect, but the people are just schmucks like us.
Yeah. Well, you don't even need the perfect audio quality. Like, you can have perfect audio equipment and then intentionally, like, get the unprofessional sound professionally.
See, I don't like things like that. I'd rather just every podcast be perfect audio.
That'd be good too.
Because hearing something sound professional doesn't rub me the wrong way like it does some people.
Whatever. It depends, really. Some things, need to sound a certain way. It's like I think of it like making 8-bit music. As opposed to making 16-bit music.
Yeah, I'll follow that. But just don't tread into the realm of, I put film grain into my digital film for artistic reasons.
No, that's a bad move. That's
kind of the same thing as...
I'm thinking more like make a black and white movie with the highest end video equipment, something like that. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but all these cool people we've met as a result of podcasting.
Like an HD black and white movie.
But remember we had the two wonderful Movies You Should See people were guests on our show, and they did a guest episode of Geek Nights.
Yeah, no one else wanted to. The bums.
No, we had a few people who wanted to, but they were probably the best people to do it at the time and the most professional. And
yeah, they did a good job. It was cool because
yeah,
I was all excited to hear whatever they had to say and what they were going to do, It's
nothing's cooler than listening to your own show being done by someone else.
Yeah. It's kind of weird, though. It's like, Geeknights is a pretty good podcast. Like, I'll listen to it if I don't have anything else to listen to.
I've done that. Because I forget what I say on the show, and I go back and listen to it. It's like, wow, that was kind of funny. Or... what the fuck was I talking about?
What the fuck were we talking?
Usually it's the latter.
What the fuck are we talking about?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's Thursday. We can do whatever we want. Thursday is the least subscribed to night of Geek Nights.
Oh, so sad. Thursday. Oh.
Well, by least subscribed, I mean it has 20 less listeners than the rest of Geek Nights.
Where are those 20 people? They gotta listen.
I mean, there are 33 people who are regularly subscribed to Thursday. But that doesn't count, the hundreds.
Wait, it's 30 people who listen to Thursday only?
Well, they might be subscribed to like Monday, Thursday. I don't know.
Hey, if anyone listens to Thursday only, say something.
Yeah, leave us an audio. I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I think that's another thing with the podcasting is I keep forgetting shit that I'm going to say that I didn't used to forget before.
But like we have these hundreds and hundreds of people who listen to the whole week, like, or at least they subscribe to the whole feed. And then we have all the feeds for the different days. And the hits to those feeds vary wildly. And you know what? If you use those specialized feeds, let us know. We're just curious.
I know a few people who use them. There's a lot of people going for that Tuesday only feed. A lot of them.
Yeah, that's our most popular feed.
Well, no, the everything feed is the most popular.
Well, it's our most popular individual day feed.
Yeah.
Even though the feed, it's amazing that half of you, in fact, sometimes more than half of you, download the show manually from the website or from a podcast site instead of using a podcatcher.
You should use a podcatcher.
Yeah, if you're downloading the site or the Geeknights from the website every day, that's awesome, but you might be better off using a podcatcher. It'll make your life a lot easier.
Yeah, I don't really care how you get the show. I mean, that's why we make it available in so many different ways. But it's probably better for you. I'm trying to help you out here. Podcatchers make things easy. There's a reason they exist.
Of course, we only have the most recent 100 episodes in the feed. And episodes before that are getting a lot of downloads. So you guys are going through the archives.
Yeah, I don't understand that people go through the archives.
I go through the archives of every podcast I listen to. I've listened to almost...
No. There's some podcasts where you can go through the archives and some that you just shouldn't.
Well, apparently ours you can because everyone does it.
I know, but if I was a Geeknights listener, I would not go through the archive.
I would. You know what I'd do? I'd go through the website. Maybe this is why we get so many web downloads. I would go to the website and search for things I want to hear about because odds are it's in there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I would go and I wouldn't listen to the whole archive straight through is what I'm saying.
Well, you know what I did?
I would get some choice episodes out of there, but I definitely would not listen to everything.
I've listened to almost the whole archive of movies you should see.
Well, that's not the biggest archive.
Fast Karate for the Gentleman. Anime World Order.
Well, Anime World Order you can listen to all of pretty easily.
Yeah, and NPR, a lot of that stuff I've gone back.
NPR wouldn't... Well, it depends on the show on NPR.
NPR Politics I went back through as much of as I could get.
Wow, that's scary.
I like NPR Politics. It's only 10 minutes long.
I'm just saying, like Onion Radio News.
I've gone through...
It's too many of them.
I've gone through much of the Penn Jillette podcast archives.
Yeah, it's another one where I would just go through and get some choice episodes and not listen to all of them.
But yeah, anyway, I don't know. We weren't really trying to say anything. We were just kind of rambling.
And because we had nothing better to do today, what do you want from us?
Yeah, it's been 221.9 episodes of Geeknights. I mean... That's kind of crazy. Whenever I think about it, I mean, I look at the gigabytes and gigabytes of Geeknights archives I have on this computer, and it's kind of staggering that we did that.
All right, so Geeknights, it's the second season. The second season's about a month old now, right?
Yep. As the new year comes, a lot of stuff is going to happen. We're going to update the website.
Yeah, it's going to be the holidays in a couple weeks, This is going to be like the Geeknights mellow month of December, right? And then we're going to have, our big New Year's party that we always have and everything, In January, expect like Geeknights double renewal. We're going to start, doing a push for more listeners. We're going to hopefully, get the website nicer.
Yep, we're going to get our artists to finish the site design and then give them money in exchange.
We're going to start selling swag. We're going to come out with the DVDs. We're going to do all that awesome shit is coming up early next year.
And it better come early next year because also early next year is con season.
Dum, dum, dum.
See, it used to be that con season for us was the summer. Mm-hmm. And that was pretty much it. Like, I'd go to Katsucon and then we'd have con season, which was like March through August, and even then,
con season
it was
is
really
February through
November. Well, no, September.
September.
It's February through September, so we get October, November, December, and we might lose January.
How are we gonna lose January?
Because
you know what? The New York Comic Con is in January,
and Genericon.
Oh,
yeah, it begins
con season most of the year, always.
Yep. Also, expect us to be doing a lot more at cons. I mean, this last year, at most cons where we did stuff, we tended to do podcasting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
we're going to do a lot more non-podcasting stuff because no one wants to hear another panel on what a podcast is.
Yeah. All right. So all you Geeknights listeners out there, get ready.
Yeah. And you know what? Thanks for listening because it's just awesome that you guys all listen to us rant late into the night about often useless bullshit.
I don't know. I think you're just fucking crazy. I don't know what's wrong with you.
Well, you know what? I guess I'll end this with probably the most fitting anecdote that one of the reasons we decided to do a podcast, we've talked about this before, was that when we made a bunch of new friends when they were freshmen at RIT, when we were like juniors and seniors, and they'd come over to our house or sleep in our apartment, and they'd see us talking to each other in the bedroom in our separate beds while they were trying to go to sleep. And
they see us talking at all. We just had normal conversations in the living room, and they were perfectly normal conversations to us, but everyone else is laughing hysterically.
So we realized that maybe we're funny.
Hey, if we just talk the way we normally talk, other people seem to really be entertained, so much so that they have nothing to say except they sit there and laugh and are happy. So, yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll turn this into an annual Geeknights retrospective. I don't know. Maybe we'll turn it into a semi-monthly one, depending on how lazy we are with Thursday shows.
Yeah. I got a few ideas of things that we should do in the near future. Like every other podcast seems to do contests. I think we can come up with a better contest system than other podcasts do. I'm working on that.
Oh, you mean like Anime World Orders contest where they just randomly pick names?
No, I'm thinking people do better contests than that, but I think Geeknights can have the best contest of any podcast out there.
We'd have a contest, like we'll get our friend Conrad.
We'll have a contest. Who can come up with the best contest, you win.
Nah.
No.
What do you win? The contest. You get to run it. I don't know.
No. We're going to come up with some good stuff there, and yeah.
Plus, one thing we're going to be doing that a lot of people have asked us about is we're lining up. I know we said this before, and we did have all these interviews lined up, but we just didn't do them. We're going to actually follow through and interview all these people we keep saying we will. Because, I mean, it's fun to have us on the show all the time, but it's nice to break it up. And I think we've got some really cool people that we may or may not have on the show in the coming months.
Yeah, and if you have, if there's anything you want, I mean, one thing that a lot of other podcasts seem to be more successful at getting than we do, even podcasts with lower listenerships than we have, is lots of feedback. I think that's because we don't read feedback on the show often enough. Like when we were doing the Geekbacks, we started getting lots of mail. And since we stopped doing the Geekbacks as often, we get less mail.
Well, the thing is, no one really comments on the show itself. They comment on things we've said on the show. We never get meta feedback anymore.
Yeah.
Like in the first month, we'd get complaints like, oh, the audio sounded bad that day, or you guys should stop doing this segment because it's boring. No one says anything anymore, so if you have a complaint about Geeknights, lay it on.
Or if you have suggestions and ideas and all that jazz. You know, this show is not like some set-in-stone show or whatever, even though it might feel like it because there's not a lot of listener participation going on.
Well, actually there is, and it's all in the forums. It just doesn't, like, the thing is, someone will say something in the forums, and then our listeners will respond in the forums, then we'll respond in the forums. So none of that ever even hits the show.
Well, sometimes it might hit the show, but we won't let you know in the show that it came from the forum. Like someone will say something in the forum or send us an email, and then we'll talk about something related to that in the show, and unless you're a forum visitor, you won't know.
Though the forums, honestly, make me happier than anything, because I wager if the show went away, the community in the forums would far outlive it.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, it's gotten to the point where the people in the forums are all really cool, they all know each other. The forums have their own in-jokes separate from the show.
Yeah. All right.
I think we're done. We actually went long for this bullshit episode.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of hard not to. But so Geeknights, 222 episodes behind us.
Not yet. It's 221.98.
Oh, okay. And in the future, more action. But in the near future, the same action.
You can't listen to 10 Geeknights.
Yeah, you can. Already did.
This has been Geeknights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music.
Be sure to visit our website at www.frontroadcrew.com, where you'll find show notes, links, our awesome forum, a link to our Frapper map, and links to all the RSS feeds.
We say feeds plural because Geeknights airs 4 nights a week, covering 4 different brands of geekery. Mondays are science and technology. Tuesdays, we have video games, board games, and RPGs. Wednesdays are anime, manga, comic nights. And Thursdays are the catch-alls for various rants and tomfoolery.
You can send us feedback by email to geeknights@frontrowcrew.com. Or you can send audio feedback via Odeo. Just click the link that says Send Me an Odeo on the right side of our website.
If you like what you hear, you can catch the last 100 episodes in iTunes or in your favorite podcatcher. For the complete archives, visit the website, which has everything.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike 2.5 license. This means you can do whatever you want with it as long as you give us credit, don't make money, and share it in kind. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.